Welcome to another Vintage League here. Today we're trying out Bant Energy based on the new Aetherdrift card, Peema Trailblazer. And this is a pretty cool one. I'm not sure if you follow PVDH, but if you do, you should on Twitter. They usually do a set review, and this is one of the cards on there that caught my eye. And I think it's a pretty cool one. When it deals 3 mana, 3/3 Trampler, when it deals combat damage, you get that much energy, and then you can pay 6 energy, and you can put 2 +1/+1 counters on it, and you draw cards equal to its power among creatures. So, a couple things to note. I guess that's at a base level. If it's your only energy thing, it swings twice, and if it gets through twice, then it'll have 6 energy just by dealing 3 damage, then 3 damage. Then you can draw 5 cards and make it a 5/5. But how you really can turn this on is by, you don't have to get the energy by swinging with it. You can just have the energy. If you have 5 energy sitting around, you can just play this and immediately, or 6 energy sitting around, you can just play this and then immediately draw 5 cards by putting the +1 counters on Peema. So how do you do that, right? So we've got other cards in the deck that make energy. We've got the classic combo here, Guide of Souls. If you play any Modern or even in Legacy now, it's popped up in some extent in Vintage a little bit, that whenever a creature comes into play, you get an energy, which is good, and it has the little combo here with Ocelot Pride. So we're running 4 guides and 3 prides for that combo. We also got another energy card here from Modern Horizons 3 in Volatile Stormdrake, which I played in a couple of videos. It's kind of a pet card of mine. I actually think it's pretty decent, but I don't think anybody else plays it in any format, really. But the trick here is, when you play the Drake, if you swap it, you don't have to. You can just play it as a 3/2 flyer if your opponent doesn't have any creatures, or pitch it to Force of Will. So it's pretty versatile, more versatile than Gilded Drake. But if you do swap, you don't have to pay any energy, and you still get the 4 energy. So if your opponent has, let's say, a Psychic Frog, you can play it for 2, swap, get the Psychic Frog. Now you can either pay 2 energy or just choose to kill the frog and keep the 4 energy. And then you can use that energy either immediately or later on to activate Peema Trailblazer. So that's pretty nice. And the little combo with Drake, if you're not familiar with it, is Homeward Path. So after you swap creatures with your opponent, if you don't pay for the creature, it dies. So they've got your creature, their creature's dead, so you can activate Homeward Path to get the Drake back. So quite nice. So those are good ways of getting energy. We've also got Helios 1. Now this card actually seems pretty cool to me. I was tempted to run more than one, but because we've got the Homeward Paths in here, I think one's okay. But it's a cool card. You can use it for colorless. You can use it to make an energy at the end of, say, opponent's turn, you know, if you're not doing anything with your mana. And it can blow stuff up, which is actually a pretty cool ability. I quite like that. Other cards in the deck include, say, Birthing Ritual to find some of the creatures you want. It can also work nicely with the Drake. Say you swap creatures, then you can sacrifice their creature, do the Birthing Ritual to find something. Now that their creature is dead, you can do the same thing, activate the Homeward Path to bring back your Drake. Force of Will, Force of Negation to try and not lose to the combo decks in the format. Those are important. Oko is really strong specifically against Bug, Lurrus Control, and Oath, but mostly Lurrus Control, which is probably the top deck in the format right now. Oko's a way of hedging against that matchup by having the main deck. It's also a blue card for Force of Will. Lavinia's trying to go pretty creature heavy here because of the Guide of Souls, the Birthing Ritual. We're trying to go pretty creature heavy to get energy and go with that package. So Lavinia's a very strong Bant hate bear here, especially against decks like Tinker decks for Citadel. This stops the Citadel cards from the top. It stops big permanents like Coveted Jewel And sometimes they ring if they don't have 4 lands, but very often Coveted Jewel, because that's a 6 mana thing. That's very good, and it stops just normal stuff like opposing Moxen and Force of Wills. Collector Oof is great at stopping artifacts, which is good in Vintage. We don't have too many, so most of the time this is going to be fairly one-sided. Time Walks is the introduction. This was an interesting one. I wanted another blue card in my deck. This was the last inclusion here. I also wanted it to be a blue creature for the... wanted it to be blue and a creature, and I was kind of looking through my collection here. I don't have a rental account, so all these cards I own. I kind of wanted to give this one a try. There's some cool things here. When I can just draw a card, it's unblockable, so against mono white initiative you can just go through and get the initiative, which is cool. It has some cool abilities, the drawing the card, the putting the counters on it, and then it can become a copy of another creature, which works quite well with a lot of our creatures here. We have a lot of cards that this turning into it is quite nice, or can be in certain situations, so I wanted to try that one out. This is a little combo here, which if you play other formats like Modern or Legacy, you probably know, where you gain the life by playing the Pride that triggers, and you can very quickly get extra cats and get up to the City's Blessing pretty quickly, usually to get the double cats as well. Vexing Ball is just an extremely strong card in these kind of mid-range decks. Stopping, especially on the play, stopping stuff, and then stopping Force of Will, and then you can always cycle it, we don't need it. So Deathrite Shaman's here over Noble Hierarch for 2 main reasons. One, it's got 2 toughness, and against the Lurrus control decks with 4 main deck Orcish Bowmasters, I really want to be able to have a mounted dork that stays around. It helps us play through Wastelands. I really want a 2 toughness mounted dork here. The black's a little annoying. We're basically a Bant deck, but we have an Underground Sea and a Scrubland in here to potentially use that one. But the other bit of this, and the part that's much easier to pull off, is green as Graveyard Hate. So our main deck is pretty soft to Dredge. We're not going to be beating Dredge or other bizarre decks a lot game 1. We'll talk about how we're trying to beat them in the sideboard. Now they're on a bit of a downturn here, so we're just hoping to avoid Bizarre in the matchup, but we do have a plan in the sideboard, but it's not what we want to face. But this is definitely a hedge towards that matchup, having some Graveyard Hate in the main deck. If you start on this on turn 1 on the play, it can make life tricky for them. Recall, Misstep, Probe, just classic great cards. Swords, again, there's quite a lot of creatures in Vintage right now. We have our on-color Moxen, plus the Jet, just as another way of using the Shaman ability. We're playing just the basic suite of Bant lands here with a little bit of Black Splash for the Shaman. And then our utility lands here are the Homeward Path for the Volatile Drake combo, and Helios one as another source of energy here. And then on to the sideboard, our plan against Dredge is to bring in the 4 Leyline in the Void and the 4 Containment Priest. Now, having a pretty bad Game 1 matchup isn't ideal, obviously, but bringing in 8 cards certainly helps to at least get us closer to evening out that matchup. I don't think it's actually that terrible. This is a pretty good plan for that deck. The Null Rods are going to be for your Lurrus PO combos and your Jewel combos. Swords to bring in against Lurrus Control, Mono White Initiative. Priest also going to come in against Oath of Druids in addition to Dredge. That's one of the main reasons to run Priest, because it also hits the Oath of Druids deck. And then Prismatic Ending is mainly for Oath, but it's kind of a catch-all here. It's a nice one that I can also bring in against Lurrus Control. Because against Lurrus Control, you want to shave a lot of these 2-for-1 counters and play a more efficient game with them. So I'm trying to get stuff to bring in. So you can bring in the endings, you can bring in the swords here. Now, one thing before we start here is we're playing some live matches here. So we've got 3 live matches and 2 recorded in our Vampires video. It was requested to have live matches. I'm trying to accommodate that. So the league is going to be a little bit out of order. We're going to look at the first 3 three live matches first, which are actually rounds 3, 4, and 5. And afterwards, we're going to do the 2 recorded rounds, which are 1 and 2. And if you want to see the actual breakdown for some reason of what matches were when, that'll be at the very end in the closing here, along with the results and the record and talking about that. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy that. And yeah, again, 3 matches at the beginning are live, then the 2 later are going to be recorded. And if you have any other questions or feedback or anything, just pop them down below. Happy to answer stuff. And if you want, like or subscribe. That certainly helps and is fun for me. Alright. See you in round 1. Alright, we got another match here. Let's see what our opponent's doing over there. Lurrus. Okay, we will keep this then. So I think we want green here, then blue-white on here, so we can play the Oko and have up swords. So make green, play the bauble, that gets forced. Blue, white, blue, and make a food token. And they pitch dig through time there. Fine. Let's see what else they got. Scalding Time. That could be a more combo-oriented version. Okay, so I'm glad that we got a blue card there. Do they have a lightning bolt? Swords? Swords. Okay. We already used Oko. Hopefully they play a frog here and we can force it. We can swords it, I mean. We actually have hard cast negation up now, which is nice. And it does look like they're the controlling version. Alright. So if they're the controlling version, we want our removal in. We want our prismatic endings. We want our swords. That's 5 cards. I think the force of negations are a pretty easy one to take out. Don't think the Lavinias are amazing in this matchup, so I'm going to take one out. They play a good amount of removal. I don't love the Birthing Ritual. How many blue cards do we have? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's very low. Ugh. Haven't planned out the did not plan out the Lurrus matchup perfectly here. I do not love keeping in Force of Will here for sure. I think this is as good as we can do. I don't like having these forces in here, but I think it's worth it. Oh boy, maybe it's not. I could put back in a Lavinia, the Birthing Ritual. Lavinia Birthing Ritual. Maybe on the draw it's okay. I'm going to try it like this on the draw. Let me know if you think this is a dumb way of sideboarding down below. Because it could be. I don't hate this. Alright, we'll keep that. We don't have a blue source, but we can go turn 1 Shaman with Force backup, which is not the worst thing in the world. And we're on the draw, so we got our card here. That I will force. Alright, so they play a fetch, we can play an Oko next turn. That's probably the stronger one of these options here. Frog, yeah. Alright, so we got some choices here. Do we want the Peema Trailblazer? Or do we want... Yeah. I mean, I'm almost tempted... So if we try and Elk the Frog, they can pitch 2 cards to it and then just kill the Oko. Which I don't love. I am tempted just to try and exile the frog right here. Maybe that's not worth it. Can only make 2 colors right now. The problem is they probably have removal. If you played the Peema Trailblazer, what probably happens is it just gets swords. I think we gotta play this a little slower and just try and exile the frog. Alright, well we can't play around that. I don't think this counts as colorless. So I think we do just have to pass here. So Homeward Path biting us there. Alright. I think we have to take that one on the chin, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, that's not good. Alright, things are looking bad. Play at least one more turn. The frog's just going to start to accumulate too much advantage here soon. Can play one more turn. Time walk's pretty good. Maybe I should have just scooped there. But if we draw some lands here and we go runner, runner, Peema, go Peema or something, there are worlds where we can win this, so I don't quite want to scoop now. I mean, we're definitely not favored. We're certainly in the 5% territory here of now we got, like there are cards like Thieving Skydrake that could not Thieving, whatever our Drake is in our deck that steals creatures, whatever it's called again. But they've drawn, what, 3 cards now? 4 cards with the frog, so it's looking bad. Yeah, we can pack it up there. Really don't like the forces. I think I will just take those out. Bring in the Lavinia, maybe the Birthing Ritual. Priest or Null Rod, I guess. I think just yeah. I guess the priest that can do some things. I don't love it, but I think it's a keep. Sure. Aggressive. Okay. I really want to get this Trailblazer down, so I think I am just going to time walk here. Land, please. That's good. Maybe that's a Tundra then. Let's just try this first. Now we could just lose to a Time Twister here. So we're going to try and take the Orc next turn, hopefully. Homeward Path, we're be a good draw here. I don't really want to take the Orc. It does. I kind of want to take like a Lurrus or a Frog. It's risky. Don't get me wrong. It's risky, but I think I am gonna wait. We could get time twisted here. I could have swung with the Lavinia. Not really doing much for us here, so. A swamp black source would be pretty huge. Yeah, we could just get time twisted here and then we'd be greatly punished for our hubris on things. We just want them to buy Lurrus. Alright. That's fine. Worried about getting time twisted there. Maybe I just try and surge it first and bait a counter spell. Yeah, seems reasonable. That's fine. We can give some of our stuff flying next turn. And we got it. Okay, we've got a matchup against Absorbent 3 here on the draw. We don't have any lands though. I mean, I'm almost tempted to keep it just on the back of Force of Will, Deathrite Shaman, but that's probably a bad idea. That will keep. You want the Drake or the Time Walk, the second guide? It's the Time Walk. we'll see how this goes. It's a good start from our opponent. Okay. Okay, aggressive. Very aggressive start. Just getting bolted right in the face there. I think we're just gonna fire off the recall. Kind of souls. All right. You're gonna come in here with the I think they have a double attacks now, so fear of missing out. Artifact, instant land. Oh, they're missing one card type. They're missing a card type. So let's go Guide of Souls. Ocelot Pride. We're lagging pretty bad here. Boom. Boom. Yes. Let's see. Let's see how we do here. We get our Ocelot Pride little synergy here. I got a land. Okay. They're going to Fury. I think we fight over the Fury. What did they exile? Simeon's Spirit Guide. That could take out all three of these. I think we fight over that. think I'll attack with these two. We're going to keep the swamp. We want to be able to exile stuff with the swamp potentially. Because the Deathrite Shaman can be a bit of reach. We are trying to respond to absorb here, but we are lagging. Oh jeez. Sorry, absorb. Glad we got to respond in a timely fashion there. Don't want to be rude. Absorb is a really great opponent. Okay, we want the swords. We want the pendings. We do not want the collector oof. We do not want the fawns. We don't want the bauble. I think the Lavinia is not amazing either. Yeah. I think we'll do that. See how this goes. Do. We get a redraw with the probe. We have a lot of fast mana. I think this is a keep on the draw. It is risky, but they also play a lot of mana denial, so if we mull and we don't get a lot of lands, we just get wasted. We could lose that way. So we're going to try not to have that happen. Hopefully we find some action here. Oh, now we got the misstep. Okay. Lightning bolt, mumble. We have the wasteland and a strip mine, so we're just going to play out the flooded strand. And the lotus. So we're in trouble here for sure. We're on the back foot, but they have a wasteland and a strip mine, so having all of the mana is quite nice. They drew an emerald, so they can. That's fun. So we're in trouble here now. They're gonna get Minskin Boo. Yeah, maybe this was a mulligan. Maybe that was a mistake. We don't find a force of will here. We're in a lot of trouble. Yeah. It's not a bad draw. We find another creature next turn, we could activate the Trailblazer potentially. To a player. They could block. They could block, to be fair. You know, actually the force field wouldn't have mattered at all because they got the halflings. That's going to be uncounterable. Nice little combo they got there. And I think we're dead, but shall keep playing for a little bit. Alright, so since they attacked, we've got some outs. If we draw a removal spell, we can remove the Tarmogoyf, swing and kill the Minskin Boo, and then we're back in the game. So if we draw, we got 4 swords, 4 drakes, 3 pendings. Those would all be quite nice. We don't get any of that. So that means we're probably dead. Because they can fling the Minskin Boo, so 4, 8, 12. We have to, if they attack with both the Tarmogoyf and the Minskin Boo, we have to jump block. Which is not really where we want to be. Oh, they just made it big. That's okay. And we are just dead, I think. We can draw some cards. Oh, it's 6 energy. Yeah, we only got 5. We didn't have a creature. Okay, we're dead. We go to game 3. Yeah. Questionable keep, but they had a strong start there, so not sure. We win that game regardless. I think I still like how we're set up here, so I'm just going to run it back. The birthing ritual is not amazing. I don't hate it though. Would I want anything over the birthing ritual? Not really. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with this. Minskin Boo is definitely a problem for us. That's a really strong card. And then the Renin 6 with the Wasteland lock. Also quite good. Okay. Do. We're probably just going to aggressively misstep pretty much anything they do here, as long as it's a 1-drop. And that's bad. Alright, not misstepping shit. Inti. Okay. Alright, we got some choices here. I kind of want to get the Trailblazer down. I'm very tempted to get the Trailblazer down. Could just take the Inti right away, though. They've got scarier. They might have. I kind of like getting the Trailblazer down now and then following it up next turn with the the Drake, because the Drake can give us energy, and that lets us activate the Trailblazer even without attacking there. So let's see how this goes. They could just have like a Minskin Boo here and we just die or something. That's very possible. Wasteland, so not a Minskin Boo. That is for sure a problem. Can't eat that Wasteland because we used it. Oh jeez. Yeah, you got it. Aggressive. So we leave a Wasteland in hand, so they can waste us and pick it up, which is bad. They can use Inti, which is bad. That's a tough decision here. You can play the Shaman. Part of me just wants to play the Shaman. But part of me thinks letting them have Inti for longer is bad. We play the Homeward Path. We do lose both of our lands here, because they wasteland us and they pick it up. Sure. think I'm just going to try and go aggro here. Really don't want to let them pick up the wasteland, though. Letting them filter with Inti is bad, too. I guess we could swap and then make our Guide of Souls just bigger. And they can wasteland us once, then we can eat it. It's an option. So we can play our Homeward Path, swap 4 minutes remaining, swap creatures, play the Guide of Souls. We'd have 3 energy left over, then we can make Guide big. Hate that. We're protected against the wasteland then. No, we can't do all 3 though. They still can do the wasteland, double wasteland. No, we have to do this then. Alright, this is annoying, but I'm just gonna do it. Blue. And they've got a wasteland. Let's see what they got here. They can wasteland us twice. Hopefully they draw a 1-drop. Win their flip. Wasteland, yep. We got another wasteland. Oh, jeez. Playing an Elvish Spirit guide, that's fine. That's helpful. Right. Green. can at least take out the Wren in 6 there. So we're going to lose our homeward path, but that's okay, I think. They lose a flip here. No, they don't. They want another flip, so they're doing okay there. So they've got Wasteland, so our path is dead. Yep. What else do they got? We have 3 mana though, so like we're actually doing okay on mana because of our shamans. And they don't have, as far as we know, I guess, we don't have another. We can start draining now. Actually, we can't drain. There's no instants and sorceries in the graveyard. We only have 2 energy, so we can't actually swing through this spirit. So we're just going to swing. I guess we can gain life. We can exile their Inti to gain life. That's what we can do. Wants to flip, so they're in a bit of trouble here. GG. Good games. Hopefully that actually gets through with the leg. Alright, so that was a good win. On to the next round. Alright, we're against Wessel here on the play. Yeah, I think that's a keep. We're going to play our Moxen before we play our Vexing Bauble. Green, blue. And hopefully we draw a blue-green kind of mana source here. Or 2. That was a good draw. Turn it into a Deathrite Shaman that would let us play Oko next turn, which seems good. So, a little more insulated against wasteland effects now. This looks like Oath, that could be a problem. But they got Wasteland, so maybe it's Bug. I guess it's Bug. That makes more sense. Blue. Green. We got Oko. They could have a Spell Pierce, I guess. Maybe this wasn't the best. I guess it's only Spell Pierce. I think it's okay. Can't be afraid of everything. playing Lavinia doesn't play around that. They could have more wastelands too, which would take us off green, so I think it's fine. Yeah, that's okay. No. Vexing Bauble countered their Force of Negation for us, which was good. I think we're just going to create a food here. I think I want the Deathrite Shaman there, so now we're just going to keep going here. They're hitting the Helios one, okay. That's fun. The respect on Helios one. I like it. We could get a Peema Trailblazer here. I think that's pretty greedy, though. I think we do have the Vexing Bauble. What can they play through a Vexing Bauble but not a Lavinia? So that's going to be like Delve spells. And we're here to have fun. Let's do it. We're gonna get the Peema Trailblazer here. Green Strip Mine and Wasteland, we're probably against Bug then. Let's see what Hustle does here. Okay, they just conceded there. That's fine. I'm assuming we're against Bug now. So we don't want this Collector Oof. We do want a bucket of removal. Birthing Ritual isn't great because they're just going to try and remove our creatures anyway. I think we can cut the fawns. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17. That brings us fairly low in blue sources. Lavinia is not amazing against them. Well, I guess they have a bunch of pitch spells, but it's still not amazing.
Just flirting with the idea of a more aggressive build.
Not really prepared for Bug. It's kind of not one of the bigger decks in the meta right now, but you have tools.
Hand's pretty mid, but I don't think oh, just against Doomsday.
That's fun. Volcanic. So a rug. Interesting. What is... I actually don't know what they're playing. They must be on some sort of brew. Rug. Oh, it is Oath. Okay. We boarded very poorly then. They didn't force back, so I'm assuming they don't have a force, so we're going to take... Does the black do anything for us? They do have wastelands. I think I'm going to try and... Blue... Again, we want the tundra. I'm not too worried about fawn here. We could just get show and telled. Definitely something that can happen. Yeah, this feels like a show and tell. No, not a show and tell. Alright. You got another oath? Bolt. Fine. Blue mana source? Black mana source. That's not helpful. If we get a blue mana source, we can play the Silent Hall Creeper.
Charming Prince is so bad. But yes, it does technically do the things I said. Like, surely you'd rather just run Fat A than Charming Prince. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Playing a bunch of Wastelands and Oath is interesting. I'm thinking it might be the Pyroglyph Oath version then. Which we're a little better situated against. That's a good draw.
You mean, like, the Yorion version with Relic, the Yoshiwata? Or do you mean like the blue?
Gonna make our cat big. Try and improve our clock here. Now we've got a pretty reasonable clock.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think there's everything there. I just don't. It's not me that's going to build the Esper deck. Someone else is going to do that. I might play it at some point, but I'm going to let somebody else find out what it looks like. I think you can probably play. You could play like a hard control list, or you could play an Esper Vial list with Ketchumos. I think that would be pretty good. Esper Vial, maybe like play Satoru even. Why not? You know, just go all out. Well, so you managed to sneak a ring into play after all. Probably for you. I have a Valia. Yeah, we'll definitely be seeing more of Ketchumos. The question is it's just what those decks are going to look like when they're tuned, and I don't think anybody knows yet. I'll hold this for Solitude.
You got that one. Pretty happy. I think I was on mute there. Pretty happy to win a creature matchup with Oath. So yeah, pretty happy with that one. Go to the next match. Okay, got another match here to look at. So we start off. We got Force of Will. We don't know what we're up against here. We got Force of Will. We have mana, but it's not the strongest of starts. We are protected against combo, though, to some extent with the Force of Will. And if they play a creature, we've got the Volatile Stormdrake combo with the Homeward Pass, where we use the Stormdrake, sacrifice their creature, not paying the energy, so they have a Drake, we have nothing. Then we use the Homeward Path second ability to get the Drake back. But they're on Dredge, and that's a big problem. Game 1, we're pretty soft to Dredge if we don't have a Deathrite Shaman start. So we just play a Stormdrake as a creature, and our opponent goes completely wild with their Dredge hand, doing crazy stuff. So Dredge, they pick up the Dredge creatures, and then that mills. These things trigger based on the Narcomoebas. The Silver Smoke Ghoul comes in based on the 3 life from Creeping Chill, is that right? Yes. So we're dead. There's no way we can come back from this. We don't have a combo in this deck, so that's okay. We've got sideboard plans for this. I knew this was going to be a softer matchup. And Rosar isn't played a ton right now. It's kind of on a downswing. But we've got in our sideboard 4 Containment Priests, which stops creatures from entering, and 4 Leyline of Voids. So we're going to bring those in. try and improve this game too. So we have to mulligan there. I'm actually going to redo this one slower, because the mulligan decisions here are important. So the first hand has there's no graveyard hate, so we can't keep that one at all. We're looking for Containment Priest, we're looking for Deathrite Shaman, and we're looking for Leyline of the Void, especially. Alright, so we can keep this one. We've got Leyline of the Void. We can play out the Drake, potentially, but we're probably just going to hold it for a Force of Will card to protect the Leyline, and hope they don't kill us with Hollow Ones, which, with Leyline on the table and protected by Force of Will, they either need a really excellent hand or a bunch of Hollow Ones to win. So we put the Leyline into play, and they've right away pitched their Shambling Shell in our upkeep before we can play. This is smart, because if we could go to our turn, we can play a land, then we could have Spell Piercer or Flusterstorm up. So they're doing it in our upkeep, which is smart. So we're pitching the Drake there, and we're just going to play a land and go. We're not playing the second Mox, because if they have another Force of Vigor, they would just hit both of these. Force of Vigor hits 2 permanents, so we're just going to hold it. But they do this. They play 3 Hollow Ones. So our Leyline of the Void does absolutely nothing here. And unless we draw some really, really good cards, we are just super dead. And then they even put a card back on top of our library to kill us. Yeah, so that was brutal. We got knew we were a dog round 1, but we bored into a lot of cards. Deathrite Shaman, Leyline, and Containment Priest. So I feel pretty comfortable against Dredge in the later games, but turn 1, 3 Hollow 1, that can happen. So that was after the Force of Vigor. So they got us. Good game. Okay, we've got another round here. So we're against a Lurrus deck, and we start off here with a pretty strong opener, obviously. We turn 1 Lavinia, so we play out Sapphire, Savannah, Lavinia. After that, we can play Lotus, and we can play the Deathrite Shaman as well. Our opponent plays Thoughtseize and takes our Force of Will. They can't play Moxen, so they're a bit stuck here. We play our Peema Trailblazer here, namesake and reason we're playing this deck, where we can get energy by swinging when it deals damage. And we can, if we get other ways, we can pay 6 and then draw our cards here. So they're just going to go for a Time Walk there. That lets them play a 3rd land. And they use the Dress Down to play a Phyrexian Dreadnought. We get a Silent Hull Creeper in play. They buy their Lurrus, saying they swing. We get a little lucky here in drawing the swords, which is quite nice. It would have made things trickier otherwise. We had to do things like block with Deathrite Shaman and eat a creature to survive. Just drew a card with the Silent Hullbreaker there. And the Stormdrake is again a very nice draw. We're just going to swing first, because they're probably not going to block with Lurrus. That's their way back into this. I'm just going to use the Hullbreaker to turn into another Peema. And then we drew cards off of Peema. We used the ability here. We paid the 6 energy. We put 2 counters on it, made it a 5/5. We then drew our 5 cards, which is how we got all of these cards. We then play the Storm Drake, which lets us swap with Lurrus. And then played the Guide of Souls, as well as the Helios, just for good measure there. That was a fun one. Really liked that game. Peema the Trailblazer really doing work there, as well as, let me see our removal suite here. We have quite a bit in the main deck, so yeah, quite happy with that win. It went from kind of a scary situation where we had to figure out how to deal with the very large Phyrexian Dreadnought, but then we were able to overcome it there. So let's go to the next game. Alright, they got to Time Walk right away. We've got a pretty strong start here. Obviously, we've got a Moxen, Recall, Time Walk. The Guide of Soul is a nice draw. So they saw what a Peema Trailblazer did in game 1 there, so they're not going to mess around. They're just going to get rid of it right away. We're just going to keep up both Swords and Recall here. No reason to rush it. They've got a Cure. You might not know Cure, but this is a combo with Phyrexian Dreadnought, where you can exile the Dreadnought to make its base power and toughness of Cure at 12/12. That then lets it, when it deals damage, you draw 12 cards. So very scary combo there. We're going to get rid of that right away. And they're going to buy Lurrus, that's fine. We can play our Helios 1, and we have an energy. We can make another energy with the Helios 1, which we will. And then we can't blow up the Lurrus quite yet with Helios 1, so we're just going to steal it with the Drake and then return it with the Homeward Path, which is quite good. And they've had enough there. So 2 pretty strong wins against Lurrus. 2 games there against Lurrus. Blue, white, black Lurrus that we won. Yeah, quite happy with those games. All right, next round. And actually, yeah, that's it. Good match. Okay, so pretty good league. Pretty happy with that overall. We got a nice 4-1 there. Can't complain. That was my 3rd Aetherdrift league. Yeah, another nice 4-1. And the other ones was a 4-1 as well. The 3rd league was kind of a disaster. So that one probably won't make it to a video, but I did have a fun screenshots in the Vintage Discord if you want to see that in the value section of one match where I got to do the thing. So that was fun, but otherwise we have the Monument to Endurance League that I just posted in my last video in the Bazaar deck, which was a really fun use of that card from Aetherdrift, and this time with the Peema Trailblazer, another 4-1. That was pretty cool. So yeah, pretty happy with the Aetherdrift so far. As far as this league goes, the rounds were out of order because I wanted to show the live recorded ones first, and then afterwards, which are these 3, then afterwards the ones that I went over and played without recording. So first one was Dredge, and we knew this was going to be a tough matchup. I think I touched on that in the intro. Game 1, we've got Deathrite Shaman main deck. But unless we're on the play and they don't have multiple dredgers right away, that's kind of the only scenario where that actually works out for us. So we're a pretty big dog to that deck, and that's okay. Right now, Dredge isn't super well positioned, and the other Bazaar decks are basically non-existent, so I think that's pretty reasonable to have a poor matchup against in Game 1. And we are situated to be able to compete with them with Leyline the Void and Containment Priest in Games 2 and 3 and have a pretty strong favorable matchup in those games. But they, as you could see in the gameplay, or maybe you didn't, Game 2 had 3 Hollow Ones on turn 1, which beat our Leyline of the Void. So that can happen sometimes. Game 2 against Lurrus. This was the Dreadnought build of the Lurrus deck. We just got to outvalue them. We have so much value in our deck we can compete with Lurrus, which is pretty cool. Against Wessel there on Oath, we were able to out-control them. Our deck definitely has a lot of creature-based mid-range decks tend to struggle against Oath, but we still have quite a bit of protection here. So we were able to outpower that one there. That was nice. Against Absorb, really great opponent, really fun matchup there. That one went back and forth. They also play kind of a mid-range creature deck, so that was a real slugfest. That was a fun one. And then Napcaster Hero, more of the more popular Esper Lurrus control deck. Again, being able to outgrind the Lurrus control deck there, in addition to the slightly off meta Phyrexian Dreadnought build here, was very cool. If you can go bigger with some of these powerful 3-drops, you can outpower Lurrus, especially if you have a good chunk of removal in your deck, like we do with the Drakes and with the Swords and the other removal we bring in. If you can stop their Frog engine and their Lurrus engine from going too crazy, definitely can outpower Lurrus, which we saw there, which was pretty fun. So yeah, nice 4-1. As far as changes would go in the league, let's see. I like Peema Trailblazer. I actually think this is probably a pretty reasonable card. Now you have to build around it, so I think it's going to be limited in how much play it sees, because you really do need to play other energy cards. But I think this is kind of one that's just going to continue to scale up over time. There are a lot of energy cards now, and they'll probably keep printing them, so I think this is one that's probably strong enough now if you want to play it in an energy shell, but I think it's also just going to keep getting better over time as they print more and more energy cards. So definitely one to keep in mind even if you don't want to play it now. I'm not sure about the Birthing Ritual. It has nice synergy with Stormdrake. It had a bunch of creatures. It did do stuff this league. I think that's a flex slot, the Birthing Ritual here. I don't really want to cut the blue cards. The Silent Hall Creeper could be something else, but I want it to be blue. And it did do work in this game, which was nice, in this league, which was nice. But this card and the Birthing Ritual, I definitely think, are more in the flex slot territory here. I only have one Collector Oof, which is why that's a 1-up, and I've got 2 in the sideboard here. You could play more Collector Oofs. It's a really excellent card for some of the artifact combo matchups. There is a bit of a downside with Oof in that Jewel is playing Talon Gates of Madara now, which is a land that phases out creatures. So in some ways, the Null Rods are a bit more stable against Jewel. So it's not even clear that they really should be Collector Oofs, but it's a consideration. The rest of this I'm very happy with. Lavinia could be one of. We don't have Wastelands in Strip Mines, so it's not as powerful as it is with those cards, but still a really excellent hate piece. It lets us play our game, but that's another one there you probably could mess with. I really like the Drakes, I like the Peemas, Force of Negation, Oko. The Guide of Souls combo was very good with Ocelot Prides, very happy with that. I think this little combo here and the Drake are really, really strong ways of complementing Peema and also getting energy. Ball, Shaman, and these are all just excellent. The Helios one really overperformed. Now, if you don't want to play the Drake combo, if you're really, really, really against the Drake combo, I understand it's not for everyone. If you are going to cut that, then you can cut the homeward pass from here. You do, I think, if you're playing Drake, you do need this combo to make it worthwhile. But if you are going to cut that whole package, you could play more Helios ones if you're going to slot in some other energy stuff. But I think this card actually is really powerful. I was very impressed with this. Even Wessel used to strip mine this one over one of my actual on color dual hands. They immediately saw the power of this card, which was pretty cool. And yeah, that was a really fun league. I may revisit this one in the future. This is one of those leagues where I really did have the first try. I think the decks could be built in a few different ways from this. I might try something a bit different, but I think I really had fun playing with this card. It's kind of exciting card that in my type that I kind of like, so I may try that again. Any comments for any other ideas with Peema Trailblazer? I'd love to hear them. If anybody else has thinking of trying it or has other ideas for decks or strategies along with this card, that would be cool. Or if you're interested in any other of the Aetherdrift cards, I'm not sure if I'm going to do any more Aetherdrift specific leagues just to try out cards. But if people do want to see something, if I can figure out a deck, maybe I will give it a try. So comment down below if you're thinking of anything. All right, thanks, and see you next time.